Southside 457.
Did you know that the South Side on Lamar is a National Historic Building?
This building tells a story.
I need a story to connect to with my heart.
There are so many stories in this building.
I wanted to teach other people how to naturally love themselves, and so I ventured into the field of opening my own spot.
There are people in this building with a passion to share what they know.
When I share my knowledge and my skills and my gift, I'm serving my purpose.
Preachers, teachers, architects, attorneys, engineers, artists of all kinds in this building.
What makes this place tick to me and makes it exciting is the combination of so many different kinds of people.
It's like a melting pot.
It's like a melting pot.
15 years, I've never regretted being here at Southside.
Welcome to the Southside 457 podcast. I'm your host, Walter Johnson Jr. Let's get it on. You can't miss the princess.
Listen, Linda, listen.
Southside 457.
Welcome to the Southside 457 podcast. I am your host, Walter Johnson Jr. And today we have a very special guest today, Brother Snoop Robinson, author, filmmaker, screenwriter, producer. I mean, he's like the superstar of...
Who you talking about? You sure you talking about me, man?
So what's going on, man? Thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you.
Most definitely. I appreciate the invite, man. I appreciate the invite.
So one of the reasons why, well, one of the things I ask everybody is how they got to the South Side. Like, what was your journey to the South Side? Because you don't just end up at this building. You have to be invited, or you don't bump into it.
So actually, Southside goes as far back with me, probably the early 2000s. I think it was 2000, because me being in the entertainment industry, I knew a lot of people that had spaces up here that would actually invite me to come and, do jam sessions, because I used to play a little bit more than what I do now. But they would invite me over to actually do some more musicianship. So a lot of that was kind of the vibe I got from hearing about Southside Lamar. And back in the day, anyway, it's weird. You see this building. It was the Sears Roebuck, I think, building back in the day. But you would always see that building. And now, you see this sign that says Southside Lamar. So back in the day, we just used to always want to come because of the appearance that it had.
So you said musicianship. What do you play?
I play keyboard. I play keyboard. I've played keyboard since the early 80s. It's a funny story, because when I started playing keyboard, my mom didn't even know. So I was at Bow Story Middle School. I had a piano teacher, and I was like, man, I really want to learn how to play piano. I ended up taking my lessons through Miss Scott was her name. A wonderful, amazing teacher. That kind of got me started in the interest, and then after that, I just started playing by ear. I don't know, just learning the music, learning how to play by music. It just kind of took me in a whole different round.
Okay, so let's we're gonna stay somewhere right there, but let's just go back a little bit further. Okay, for those that don't know, you make movies, you make music, records, you write songs. Like, where did all that come from, and how did you start doing that? So tell us a little bit about your backstory and how you even got into entertainment.
So my mom and my dad were in there. They were in the entertainment. My dad was a quartet singer, traveled a lot. So I got to see some of the things that he had done. And my mom used to be a singer in choir. So the entertainment / music portion was always embedded in my life and my brother's life. As we got older, I started seeing some of the musicians do their playing and things of that nature. And then my mom really started taking us to the craft of the entertainment via theatrical stage plays. So back in the day when you had the plays called Mama Why, Mama Don't, Mama I Love You, everything was Mama back then.
Yeah.
So she would take us to these shows, which gave us a whole different outlook on the actual entertainment side. And you know, by that being said, we actually grew up. I actually grew up in Oak Cliff. I went to South Oak Cliff High School, and by us being raised in Oak Cliff, a lot of those opportunities are there, but we don't see them because we're not exposed to them.
Yeah.
You know, but my mom was always adamant about making sure we get some type of exposure to the entertainment element. And as I grew into, you know, my teenage element side of me, when we're going to SOC, and there were video pieces that I wanted to be creative. So instead of, this is when you had the camcorder with the VHS inside of it. You know, you remember them back in your day.
Oh yeah.
So you know, we used to get those for class, and I had a sex ed class because that's where they taught you about everything. Now they don't teach you about nothing, history, all that, and take it all out of school. But back then they was teaching about sex ed, and I didn't really like the group settings, and I didn't want to do all the writing. I always wanted to be creative. So I got the video camera that they had, and I created a little movie out of it.
A little sex ed video?
No. Okay, porn. I was porn before porn. No. It was more so teaching, how not to do certain things. I thought it was creative, but I didn't realize I was embedding myself to tell stories as I got older. I'm thinking, hey, this is the opportunity for me to get a grade, that somebody else do something different. But now, I'm doing cinematography. I'm a DP. I'm a director. I didn't think that was what I was wanting to do there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be different to create something completely different. But even back then, I was producing. We had groups. I had a couple of groups back in the day. We was on Steve Harvey at Steve Harvey Comedy Club back in the day when he was doing Apollo Night. We was like slipping through the back door. They knew we was young, but they were willing to allow us to be a part of the Apollo. Once we did the Apollo, y'all had to leave.
Gotcha.
Y'all come in. But the cool thing about us, we actually had a full band. Okay. So that was a little different for them to have a band in the comedy club. So as I was doing all these things, it was just, I was embedding myself to be more into the entertainment side, whether it was producing, musicianship, management. And as I got out of high school, things just kind of grew into a whole different realm where I started doing plays. I started producing shows, and my biggest thing was I really loved acting. So when I started doing the plays, I didn't get the opportunity I thought I would really like to have. It's like I want to be the lead for this show, so I started creating my own, basically opportunities. And then as I started doing, I'm like, man, I'm able to give other folks opportunities. I'm hiring people. I'm putting them on, giving them exposure, and then it just grew from there.
So, how many movies have you done?
Probably a little over 20 or 30.
20 movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's either being in them, producing them, directing them, DP, or even just doing music scores for some.
I get you. So take me through that process. Take us through that process of, was there a time when you doubted, but you kept going? Because now you got, you got movies out there that are, starting to get some wind behind, some wind underneath the wings, and you're getting a lot of exposure, and a lot more people know who you are, and I see it, just the sky's the limit. But I think it's important for people to know that this stuff doesn't just happen. Like you say 20 movies, but each of those movies had its own process, had time, attached to it. It had emotions attached to it. It had learning attached to it. So just take us through some of those processes, and kind of like what you learned out of it, and when you had to press on, and how you grew and things like that.
So one of your questions were, ever doubt myself? I feel like everybody do in some degree. I think sometimes I still doubt myself. Am I as good as I feel like I am, or am I as good as people see me to be?
Yeah.
I tell folks all the time, you never stop learning. For one, technology is crazy, so you
Right.
will never stop learning. But learning how to tell the story, or learning how to tell the story for the consumer to understand what you're trying to portray in that message. Because even storytelling is different nowadays. You know, back in the day, people, you know, you'd have to read it, or somebody would have to tell you about it. Now, storytelling is on your cell phone.
Yeah.
You know, from reels to YouTube to podcasts to all these different things. There's so many different outlets to tell these stories, and I think that was my challenge, and still my challenge at times. You know, where I question, okay, am I still being able to tell the story that will relate, that's relatable to everybody that I'm giving the message to. The movie side has been very interesting. I first got into it. I was doing a stage play called "She's Not Our Sister," and we sold it out, 4,000 seats, amazing turnout. We had to turn people away. Then we ended up getting it picked up by Swirl Films, which we end up doing the TV version of "She's Not Our Sister." Then they end up picking it up for another 6 episodes called She's Still Not Our Sister, I think it was. And that was kind of my big turning point of like, okay, I believe I can do this. Because we had like,
I need to take this serious.
yeah, I need to take it real serious, because it's like I took the plays extremely serious, but the film side I was just kind of dabbling in. I'm like, okay, these people really, and these people being the audience, really are enjoying the message that I'm bringing, you know, beyond the walls of just, you know, 4 walls in a stage play, you know. So as I started seeing those things, I took the camera shooting more serious. You know, I started editing more serious. I started building different pieces to make myself better. And as I started growing, and you know this in business, if you don't know how to do it, you can't teach anybody else to kind of do it the way you need it done. You know, so I'm not saying you should know everything that you do in a business aspect, but if you're creating your own lane, you at least know how to cut the mic on. Or if the mic doesn't work, plug it back in. You know,
some
stuff.
some technical aspects.
Yeah,
you got some basics. There's some ground
exactly, and because everybody don't know everything. So if you're able to troubleshoot a situation, and that's where I started growing myself. I started using my background from music and being a sound engineer, tying all those things into the technicalities of. I was an electrician. I'm a licensed electrician, so troubleshooting is key in electrical trade. You know, everything, you got a light switch go out, you know, you got all these plugs down the line. How do you repair this? And that's how I started implementing myself into the entertainment side, because everything is a troubleshooting piece. How do you get from A to Z, you know? And by me doing those different things, I started developing a process of getting the right team together. With the filmmaking, because as you know, you can't do this stuff by yourself. You got to have people behind the scenes. Prime example, like we're doing this podcast, you have an engineer that's making sure that we look or sound good. People don't see that side because all they see is us sitting here in front of these microphones, not realizing you have to have a team. And as I started building my team for the film industry, my products started getting better. People started understanding the stories better. I started getting people interested in investing in the projects, or, you know, doing product placements and all these different things. You start getting a buzz and interest, because now people are seeing, okay, you are making some noise, you serious about it, and your quality is what I want to attach myself to.
And you're learning to operate on what it's not just the camera. It's not just it's more, there's different dynamics to the set. Like you say, product placement and different things like that, and sponsorships and all these opportunities for monetization from a business standpoint. But go ahead.
No, I mean that's it in a nutshell, because people don't realize that this stuff here, first of all, your equipment costs money. How can I pay for that to be able to produce, what I need to produce? How can I pay the cast, the crew? How can I feed them on set? How can I pay for wardrobe? And the list goes on. So doing those different things. And I did a lot of that with stage plays. I would get like sponsorships and, because I used to do crazy marketing from radio to television, billboards, all these different aspects of marketing and tie into my sponsors. So they would indirectly pay for my advertisement. So I don't have to pay for my advertising. All I got to do is worry about my cast and crew, take care of them, but now my advertising's done and they're getting more advertisement because I'm able to double up what they normally wouldn't do for the marketing. So when I started looking at all these different things from the business aspect of entertainment to the product and just developing who is Snoop Robinson, what type of content I want to deal with. For a long time when I was doing stage plays, more stage plays, people were like, man, do you do anything else outside of the inspirational realm? And I'm like, yeah, I don't mind doing it. It's just this is what has got me in where I am now, So now when I'm doing these movies, I deal with drama, deal with thriller. I would say, I don't really would say hood, but urban content. Urban. Yeah, more aggressive urban content. Just really
urban culture.
Oh, there you go, urban culture. We're gonna say that. So we're gonna say the professional way. So so that's one of the things that I'm starting to get more into as me and my business partner develop more types of content. Matter of fact, what's interesting, we had a conversation the other day of doing things that people will like, but then at the same time not doing things everybody else is doing.
Gotcha.
So trying to figure out so you can still have people's insight and the eyes on your content without shine over to what everybody really
you're not really trying to blend in. You're trying to stand out,
exactly.
But you're still paying attention to what the market is saying that they want. But at the same time, you want to meet them halfway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of where I am as the entertainment and where I've come from as.
So tell me this: since you started doing stage plays and now you're doing films, how has the marketing changed? How do you get that? How do you find your audience with the marketing? And because I know you said you did a lot of radio, you did some of that. So can you just explain, like, how does one market a stage play, a film, and how do you get that to the next level? Like walk us through the process of, okay, idea to creation to marketing to now people can view it. Like walk us through that process so that people understand that process.
Okay, so
because it's not just let's just make a movie and da 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 da.
Not at all.
Like in this time and tell me this too, how much preparation is involved from idea to being up on these platforms or and marketing out. So that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Take a deep breath.
That was a loaded question. So when it comes to films, it's a little different than the plays.
Yeah.
Because plays are localized.
Yeah.
Films are not. It's a national platform.
Yeah.
So when it comes first, like you asked, so you ask where does it start and where does it end up? So it starts with an idea. And a lot of times my ideas are maybe like general conversation, or somebody may come to me and say, hey, Snoop, what you think about this script idea? Can we tweak it to make it, what it needs to be? So a script may take a month to 6 months, depending on the story, because it goes through outline development first. How do I want to tell this story? What are the pieces I want to tell in this story? Once you do that, then write the script. Now you go through editing process. So I may have a female to read it, I may have a male to read it, and I may have somebody that's just editing it, because everybody has their views and their perspective, and I always want to get different perspectives of that story. because it's going to resonate with a bunch of different other personalities.
Yeah.
Now, do I always take the opinions of every one of them? Not always.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the story is my story.
Yeah.
But I do take in consideration the ideas and them even taking the moment to actually study that or read it. And then what I also do, I do focus groups.
Yeah.
A focus group is basically a bunch of people in a room reading the story, what with the characterizations, how did the story, come about? Did we miss something? Did we tell the life of Walter? Did we do all these things to make you understand what the end of that story is? And in those focus groups, honestly, that has been a game changer to the stories that I've been telling, because now I've got, all nationalities around the table, all genders around the table, to where I don't have to worry about, okay, am I going to touch somebody or am I missing somebody, because they're going to tell me how that goes. So once you do the focus group, clean up your story, then the next process is either casting/shoot dates. So we go through, a shoot date time frame. So if you want to get, I feel like everybody.
Hold on. Casting.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. You can't just cast. That's like not that's not 1, 2, 3. That's a whole process. That's like a day, 2 days.
Man, casting.
It could be. That could be a. You can't. That could hold you up if you don't have the right person and the actors.
It can. And the thing, and that's the thing too, when it comes to scheduling / casting, is that you have to and what I was going to say is celebrities. I think everybody that's in your project is a celebrity for me.
Yeah.
Everybody is important. Everybody is a big name. It's just there's some people have had more exposure than the other.
Gotcha.
So when I find those people that have had more exposure than the other that could help build the platform, I'll check their schedule. This is when we're looking at shooting. Are you available? Then I go in and do, once they say, yeah, I'm available, or I like the script, this is what I'll do it for. That's another part. Budgeting to negotiation, because the indie space is completely different than the other space.
Hold on, go back to casting.
But let me go to casting. Okay, all right, I'm going further away. But casting,
because it's so much. That's why it's a loaded question, right?
It's very loaded, very loaded. So once you find that primary person, what I do is I do a casting call. I submitted to a lot of actors around the Dallas or Fort Worth Metroplex, even around the different states if they want to come down and audition. I submit to all of them first, let them know, and then I put it publicly to where it's an open casting call. Now, the only thing about the open casting call situation is you could submit, but nobody knows the address on where we're doing it, because I don't need the pop-ups. It is a scheduled situation where, it's a 3-minute increments in between each person doing their whether it's a cold read, and the cold read is basically you come in, see the script, read the script that I present to you, or do a monologue. And a monologue is basically either it's so many variations. It could be a poem that you've written, or a poem that you've seen, or it could be, somebody that like a Denzel that has had all these lines of dialogue. That's a monologue that he has learned for that particular film, and you want to portray that monologue. So we'll ask for monologue or actually a cold read or any of that type of nature. Once they do that process, we have in mind a look, but we don't have the person in our mind. So when we see that, you see a female, because think about it. You don't, sometimes if the film doesn't call for, you don't want a 5-foot person standing next to a 6-foot female. It just don't gel.
So if you know that there's a 99% chance I'm gonna use this guy. Mm-hmm. So now, no matter how good somebody comes in, if it's not gonna match, then it's not gonna match. So it's just like you're looking at, okay, they can act. So how else can I use them? Because you don't want to lose them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's when, even though they would be great for the lead, but because aesthetics, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Unless there are certain elements in the script where this person is supposed to be more powerful in dialogue and not in structure size, that you want to create those different pieces. So once you go through that, looks. I'm a firm believer of mixing skin tones, nationalities in the projects I do. Because back in the day, you would have just light skinned females that, certain type of body. You wouldn't see the dark skinned females as much, or you wouldn't see, thick women. You would see, thick, voluptuous, sexy, beautiful woman, so you try to get folks in trouble. You are not going to set me up. That was a loaded question. But, just changing up the dynamic of sizing and looks was a big part of the way I like to cast, because I want people to see them on the screen.
Yeah.
Because back in the day when we were kids, you wouldn't see that. You think Barbie was who everybody needs to be or look like. Now you see a black doll, or you see a full figured doll, or you see all these different pieces, and that's how I always wanted to have characters to portray in my stories. So once I get the casting done, or once I pick who I like, or the crew or the production team say, okay, we like this one.
Hold that thought. Once you get the casting done. Okay. So before we so now we know we got you're getting the casting done, and we're about to go to the next phase. But before we go to the next phase, tell me just very quickly, because we see American Idol, we see all the different kinds of things and people that they bring to these shows where they're getting picked to do it, and there's some interesting characters out there. So, very briefly, tell me like a funny story when somebody has come to one of your castings and you just you didn't stop it because it was so entertaining. But at the same time, you wanted to stop it, but you kind of wanted to see where they was going with it. But I don't know. But it was anyway. Go ahead.
So is this an adult show?
Whatever.
Kind of, sort of.
No.
It's not crazy.
No, just go ahead.
So it was this young lady. So the character was a streetwalker.
Okay.
She understood her assignment when she came in to audition. So she came in with this sucker in her mouth, and she would call it. I'm like, okay, it was. She went a little bit more in detail. She had a skin tight suit on. Where
she was playing a role.
She was playing a role, and she played it so well to where I really thought,
this is what she does.
And then I think my homeboy ended up seeing her later, and he said that was actually her. So she wasn't really auditioning; she was just playing herself. But it's just these different pieces. Like it's, and then I've had not homeboys, but I have people that have come in to audition that are men that are really, really swole. Guys that work out. They've worked out, and they come in with the tank top, auditioning for a lawyer role, and I'm like, how can I see you as a lawyer when you come in here looking like a bodybuilder,
like baby boy?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's the thing about auditioning, and I say this to everybody out there: if you go and audition, make sure you understand what the role is, because if not, it can either bring you down or you can really lose your opportunity because you're not dressed for the part. So I had to play that moment, but it annoys me. Because
they didn't do the research.
They didn't do the research. And I've had some big dudes, like swole guys, come in suited and booted. You would never have been able to tell because they came dressed for the part. They studied, they understood their assignment, and they got the role.
Have you ever had to kick somebody out because they just couldn't take no?
I haven't had that.
Okay.
I haven't had that, but I've had to fire some folks on set.
Oh wow.
If they were late, and the lines it was them and this other person, I would write them out. So by the time they got there, we had already shot the scene. And they were like, well, I wasted my time. No, you wasted my time because you didn't respect everybody on this.
Okay. So after casting, we got the story. We come back and there's some things I want to talk about, but I don't want to lose the focus of.
Okay, go ahead.
After the casting.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we're still on that loaded question.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So after the casting, so what you do is we do callbacks. We do the callbacks, and after the callbacks, then you go through the other process of actually casting the person to accept whatever the budget is, or whatever you offer, the offer letter. We go through that process. Then we deal with a lot of the scheduling. So now you got to get, because the thing about indie filmmaking compared to big studio filmmaking is most of the people that are indie still have regular day jobs.
Yeah.
So you can't really shoot during the week or during the day. So now you've created, you've got to create an element for them to be able to shoot, which usually in the evenings, or I like to do the weekends. I'll do a Friday night, Saturday, and a Sunday to get everything shot. And we may do like 7 or 8 days of that, going that route, depending on the magnitude of the film. So once you get the scheduling, get locations. Locations can be a booger because now you have a bedroom scene, but it's supposed to be an elegant house, or you may do a bedroom scene that's supposed to be, something that somebody's maybe, less fortunate or whatever the case may be. So trying to find location scouting now is the other problem that you may have. So now relationships are even, the great thing about now compared to back in the day.
We have like PSPs
exactly.
and Airbnbs you can take out and rent.
Yes.
So with Airbnbs and stuff, just as a side note, do you have to get, because you're filming somebody's, do you have to get the permission from the Airbnb to film? Or is that in the I guess the legal jargon behind it? Or they don't sweat it at all?
I've never seen it, but a lot of times if we're going to film, we'll let them know.
Gotcha.
And then if they're okay with it, then we'll go. If they got personal pictures, we'll take them all down, or they'll take them down. But a lot of times we'll make it known beforehand, because PureSpace has some good stuff, but PureSpace doesn't have the variety that Airbnb has.
Gotcha.
But then like I said, you go with locations. Now after getting locations, now you got to deal with flights, hotels if you bring in people in. So it's a long laundry list of things that you have to deal with just to get what people see on TV. So when you criticize, it's not a problem. But when people criticize, they don't understand the blood and sweat and tears that people have gotten just to get that part done. And a lot of them don't have the budget, so they try to create what they have. So I will say this: I like where streaming has given the indie filmmaker the opportunity that they didn't have back in the day, which YouTube was the only outlet.
Exposure.
Yeah, the exposure. So, YouTube being the only place, but now YouTube has so many different things going on, from podcasts to films to YouTube University, where you can pull up anything. How you cut this light on? Okay, fix this light. Okay, you can go to YouTube and find, or fix an engine. You can go through YouTube. So it's so congested with so much material. If you don't know about it, how do I find it? The thing about the streaming outlets, you're going to watch a movie. So that this person is wanting to see some type of content. What is that content? Is it yours? You don't know, but they're going to see some
It's
content.
on demand.
Exactly. So that has changed the game, because back in the day, all you had was film festivals. I wasn't a big fan of just any film festival like the ABFF and Sundance. Things of those I really like, because they were structured to help a filmmaker or to help get some type of exposure. A lot of these other film festivals are straight money.
It's business opportunities. It's like
for them.
It's kind of like a convention or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't benefit. A lot of times it doesn't benefit filmmaker, or artists in general, because all you're doing is just getting the credits of, okay, I won the film festival. Does it benefit you? It can show accolades to the outside person, but a person that really knows, they're like, who is this? It doesn't do anything for it. So, but after all that process, then after you get through the auditioning, then you go through scheduling, then you go through your shoot process, and then you go through the pre-production, not pre-production, but post-production, which is all the editing, the sound design, color grading, all these. It's a lot before it gets to that one piece, and it could take. We've gotten it to where, honestly, I could probably get a film done between 3.5, 4 months, and overlap one on top of the other, start shooting another.
And that's short. That's like
short.
So that's like saying, okay, somebody comes to you and say, hey man, I want you to do a film. You give yourself 4 months, 3 to 4 months, 4 months tops. You couldn't do it in a month if somebody said, "Hey, man."
Nah, I wouldn't try.
What if they bought your time?
I wouldn't try.
Okay,
Yeah, I wouldn't try because at the end of the day,
that's experience right there.
That's experience, man. Because by the time you look for locations, casting, and all these things here, just the post production itself,
The preparation, right?
yeah. I mean, not even the preparation, but the post production is just after you get everything done, you've got so much other stuff. That's a month within itself. Just editing and cleaning up and all these things. It's just no, I wouldn't. I mean, shoot, 3 and 4 months is
That's pushing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really pushing it.
So I'm hearing all this from an actor standpoint, from a director standpoint, from a writer standpoint, from just a visionary standpoint. So one of the words that one of the things that's kind of ringing out in my head is confidence. Like, where did you get the confidence to do it? And how important is confidence for the people that you hire to do what they do?
I would say the confidence is there, but sometimes it's still questionable.
For you or
for me?
Okay.
For me.
And why do you think that is?
Because you got so many other people around you, and you see this person may do something a little different that could be better. So you try. I will say I
think it's comparison thing still.
Yeah,
it's like what do they call it? What's the imposter syndrome?
Yes. So I have those sometimes. So, but I will say I feel confident that I can produce a product. I feel confident that I can entertain. I feel confident that I can pick the right cast. I do, but I still have those mindset at time. Is this as good as the next person? Because you have so much content out there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think what it does for me, it pushes me harder to even be better than yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think it builds me and it keeps me humble. I think sometimes confidence, it's a difference between confidence and just straight up arrogant.
And cockiness.
And cocky. I get people on set. I've had people on set that were so cocky I sent home.
Yeah.
Because you felt the different vibe on set.
And they switched, they changed the whole energy and atmosphere.
Exactly. I don't like it. I don't like it. And not to say it's a bad thing or a good thing. That's them. But I can't deal with it because at the end of the day, if you're feeling like you're above and beyond everybody else, that means you're not willing to listen to what I need to do as a visionary to give you, because you feel like you can do everything better than everybody else. So it's, I bounce it back and forth with that.
Yeah, so it's basically like being, what I'm hearing is people learning to play their position and just not saying that they don't have a right to speak or that there's not a time, but just knowing why you're here.
It's a difference between asking questions to understand your role or your position at what you're doing than telling me, or basically because you feel that your resume is bigger than mine because you've never seen my resume or we've never talked about it. Because the thing is, what thing about me is I don't talk about myself. I feel like my work speaks for itself.
Yeah, but see, I'm the same way, man. And I'm the same way. But the thing is, what I'm learning is that when we don't do it, I mean, just from a marketing standpoint,
right, definitely.
From a marketing standpoint, it's like these cats that don't have the experience that we have, or maybe have even like the skill, or just like they can come in and like take the opportunities.
I agree.
And only because we won't speak up.
I agree.
And not saying that, sometimes it's okay to be like, I got this.
Yeah.
And the thing is that because, and sometimes it's like, I'm in my 40s. So it's just like, and I don't know, it's just sometimes I just don't want to play that game. But what I'm learning is as I get older is that if this is what it takes, and this is what people are doing, and this is what it takes, and this is how it's done. It's like this: if you're McDonald's and you don't have commercials, and you just don't feel like you need commercials, okay, that's cool. Then Burger King is gonna win. Burger King will win. Okay, don't let them use
Because
Burger King's gonna. Yeah. So there's a certain I guess importance and like relevant to making yourself relevant and staying in the conversation is just staying in the conversation is marketing.
I agree.
And I interviewed this lady Phyllis in the building with. She has a boutique on the second floor, right when you come off the elevators.
We spoke to her.
Yeah. So one of the things she says, when you meet somebody, if you're not talking about what it is, your business or what you do, your business is closed. So it's like if your business is closed. So that she says like this is how we let people know what we do. And now that social media is its own voice.
Oh my God, yeah.
So through social media, we have to let people know. But it's so hard because we were like we grew up in a different kind of era. Like, well, don't think too highly of yourself, and that's what it feels like. You're like, okay, let somebody else do it, right? But then you start realizing like all these cats are like, man, like kind of like you saying, like if you're in a race, all these cats are just passing, and they're not even as fast as you. How are you in front of me and you're not as fast as me? And this is a race.
And you charging crazy rates, but then they come back to you to fix it.
There you go. Story of my life. Story of my life. We're a singing group. Story of my life.
Oh my goodness.
So what I've learned in the process is that we have to.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine, his brother named Silverline, he passed now, but he always said, man, it's a sad dog that won't wag his own tail.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And when you think about it, I will say I market when it's time.
Yeah.
I think the issue is.
So is that the Super Bowl?
I'm real cautious, huh?
Is that the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
because that's what it's time.
Yeah, because I think my thing is you have people that really talk about certain things or the people they work with to boast versus showing their product.
So most people just want to be seen in a highlight. It's kind of like the real rich, and the fake rich.
Yes.
It's kind of like hood rich,
yes,
and like really rich.
Yes,
really rich is flip flops, t-shirt, nice little glass of wine at a nice restaurant, and a big tip. Hood rich is all the designer things at a nice restaurant, a bad tip, and very over stressing the server out over the top. Yeah, man. I saw that the other day. So, anyways,
I agree, and that's a great analogy. I think that's the piece that gets me, because I've had these conversations and they're like, well, I've worked with this person, I've worked with this person, I've worked with this. I'm dropping names. It's like, what's the purpose of you dropping names?
But LA's like that, man.
Yeah.
LA's like that. Everybody knows somebody, everybody. And you know what? It's partially true.
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody, there's only 6 degrees of separation, they say, right? So it's just like, so in some way you're going to get connected. So anyways, the name dropping stuff, but that's how people, but that doesn't mean anything to anybody who's moving.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
So me selling myself to you or telling you, hey, I can do this work, doesn't mean anything until you ask or until it's necessary for you to do the research. Yeah. Who have you worked for?
Yeah.
Or who have you worked with? But by me just dropping names, now it's like a different type of boasting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I think finding that happy medium. are for that. I'll do my website. All my information is there. If you really want to know, if you really want to work, cool. Because you come to me for a reason, for us to make it happen. Now it's just figuring out what services I can, provide for you. So,
what what's next for you? What's your biggest, like, I want you to tell people where they can go see your films and the names of your films and things like that before I start going over to this next phase. So you can look at that camera and tell them, like.
So the projects we've recently released is My Brother's Wife. Next is going to be Do It for the Gram. And then I'm previously working on a script with another producer / writer in Dallas that has a film called Ruthless Atonement. And that's another thing that I'm really, really keen on, is working with other producers and writers, because we can tell so many stories together, and we can be big together, more so than
growing together
instead of okay, especially in the film industry, because there's no competition in film industry, because people are going to watch what they want to watch.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your next film.
Yeah.
So, but
That's good.
it's crazy. So I would say, the best way to really get more more of the things that I've done or doing is just go to my website, snooprobinson.com. All my information is there. But I
Snoop,
am SNOOP. It's not Snoop Dogg Robinson.com. SnoopRobinson.com. And like I say, follow me on social media on those particular platforms by going there. And I post all the time of the different events and things that I have actually going. But what we have done is we've teamed up with another production company to do bigger and better things. So our goal next year is to do some more linear, which is television as well as streaming stuff with what we have going on.
So that's what you're doing, 2025.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked a little bit on the phone a little bit about me being in one of your movies and stuff as like a
yes. I said you need to come audition, and I'm still trying to figure you out, because you have this arrogancy about you. I don't know if I can deal with you on set.
No, man. You got a point. You got a point. I mean, like, because
didn't you say you had to have red Skittles or something like that?
That you know what? Anyway,
I'm not gonna say that. Boston baked bean. It was something that you said.
No, but I do have a story like that, and I ain't even gonna rhymes with musher.
So, I've experienced a lot of them. Especially in we've both been in entertainment for so long. Yeah, it was a gospel artist, I would not say, but they actually asked for green M&Ms. They said, we want M&Ms, but we want all green M&Ms. So we had to go through a pack of M&Ms, take all the green M&Ms out of the bag just so she can have the green M&Ms. Then the water had to be
Fiji.
Back then it wasn't even Fiji.
Okay.
I forgot the name of the water. It was a high-end water, but if you didn't have that, Evian. Yeah, that one.
I love Evian.
And that was one of the biggest ones. We had to have that. And then they couldn't have a certain type of towel. It had to be a polyester towel for their performance, and we had to have 20
microfiber.
It was like weird. It was like so yeah.
That's a day of shopping trying to figure this out.
So that may be the reason why you wouldn't get booked, because you already sent me your rider, and the rider that you sent is ridiculous, man. We're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to negotiate your personal trailer. Come on, man. We're an indie film. Go to the restroom around the car. We could talk after we get off.
Well, there, but man, but like when you're deep in this stuff, man, it's just like you just want what you want because you need it. I don't find myself like I I'm not. I don't feel like I'm. I don't feel like I'm arrogant. I just feel like I'm confident because I feel like this is who I. This is who. This is who. This is who I was created to be, and I just feel like I'm just being my best self and living my best life.
Oh my God. Oh my God, man. That's funny.
So, man, I appreciate you for being on the show, man. And
I appreciate you, man.
quick question. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to say?
I would say no. I think we touched everything. The only thing I would say, I do have a book out.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
I have 2 versions of it because what I wanted to do in the book both of the books I created, I wanted to give people the experiences I have experienced. So the book is not written from, a telltale or this is what you have to do. These are my experiences. So you can either take it for a grain of salt. It's up to you. But it's called Do It Your Damn Self.
Do it your damn self.
Volume 1 is how to put on a stage play. Volume 2 is how to shoot an indie film. So my goal is to do a bunch of different series out of the Do It Your Damn Self, because at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to do it your damn self and don't worry about nobody else.
Yeah. Well, brother, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show. And I hope that you got something out of this for the actors, the entertainers, the future filmmakers and playmakers and all of you guys, authors. I hope that you just take this interview, go back and listen to what Snoop was saying about doing it your damn self, okay? So, until next time, we'll see you on the Southside 457 podcast. Peace.
Peace. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Hold on, before you leave, check this out. Go pick up Snoop's book, Do It Your Damn Self, How to Shoot an Indie Film. This is volume 1 and volume 2. You can pick it up on snooprobinson.com or Amazon. And here's another book, Do It Your Damn Self, How to Put a Stage Play On. And you pick it up from the same place at snooprobinson.com or Amazon. Peace.
Southside 457.